Disclaimer: this content is only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I never imagined my life would twist into something so complicated. It started as an ordinary evening, soft jazz playing in the background, the scent of vanilla candles filling the living room, and the sound of rain tapping gently against the windows. I was finally beginning to feel peace again, after years of heartbreak and rebuilding. But just when I thought I could breathe, he walked in. Jason, my stepson. 22, confident, calm, and far too observant for his own good. We'd always had a strange energy between us. Not inappropriate, just intense. The kind you try to ignore because it doesn't make sense. I told myself it was the age gap. I told myself he just missed having someone around. But that night, everything changed. He'd just come home from college for a long weekend. I was in the kitchen, sipping a glass of wine, wearing one of those cozy sweaters that fall off your shoulder without trying. He stood there watching me longer than usual, his eyes holding something unspoken. I felt it, like a flicker in the air, something shifting between us. I smiled, tried to play it cool, and went upstairs to get away from the tension. But moments later, I heard a soft knock on my bedroom door. My heart raced. It wasn't fear. It was something more dangerous, curiosity. I hesitated, then opened it. I couldn't sleep, he said, his voice low, almost vulnerable. Can I stay here for a while? I should have said no, but instead, I stepped aside. The room felt smaller with him in it. The silence was thick. I sat on the bed, unsure of what was happening, and he sat beside me. For a while, we just talked about life, regrets, memories of his dad, and how lonely the house felt. But then he leaned in slightly, close enough for me to feel the warmth of his breath. I tried to move away, but his hand gently caught mine. I know it's wrong, he whispered, but I don't want to pretend anymore. I panicked. I stood up, backing away, my mind racing with 1,000 reasons why this couldn't happen. I walked toward the door, trying to stay in control. But before I could leave, he wrapped his arms around me from behind, not forcefully, but like he needed to hold on to something real. And that's where the night began to blur. What would you have done in that moment? Would you have walked away or stayed and faced the feelings you've been running from? Let me know in the comments. Would you trust your heart or your conscience? Drop a red heart if you've ever been in a situation where love and logic didn't agree. And vote in the poll, can chemistry ever be wrong if it feels this real? To be continued. I stood there frozen, his arms still around me. The warmth of his touch sent a wave of confusion through me. My mind screamed to pull away, to remind him of the boundaries we were never supposed to cross, but my body didn't move. Everything in that moment felt like a dream, too quiet, too intimate, too real. Jason didn't say another word. He just held me. Not in a way that pushed or pressured. It felt more like he was afraid that if he let go, I'd disappear. I felt his heart beating against my back, steady but strong. It was the first time I realized just how grown he'd become. He wasn't the kid I'd helped raise anymore. He was a man now. A man with feelings he had clearly kept buried for a long time. I gently stepped out of his arms, turning to face him. His eyes looked hurt but patient, like he knew he had pushed too far, yet couldn't bring himself to regret it. Jason, I said softly, this isn't okay. You know that, right? I know, he said, his voice low. But I also know you feel something too. You've been avoiding it. I see the way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. His words hit harder than I expected. He wasn't wrong. There were moments, tiny, stolen glances, the way my heart fluttered when he laughed, how I always noticed when he came into the room. But I told myself it was just loneliness playing tricks on me. I never thought he noticed. I never thought he felt it too. I stepped back and sat on the edge of the bed, trying to gather my thoughts. He sat down beside me again, a few inches away this time, giving me space. How long have you felt this way? I asked, not even sure why I wanted to know. He looked at me, his expression honest. Since before I left for college. I didn't know what it was at first. I just knew I missed you more than made sense. I'd come home and just want to be near you, even if it was just sitting in silence. It felt safe. It felt like home. His words stirred something in me, a kind of sadness I couldn't explain. I remembered how I used to wait for his calls, how I worried when he didn't check in, how I always made sure his favorite meals were ready when he visited. Maybe it wasn't just maternal care. Maybe I'd been lying to myself too. But none of that made it okay. None of it made this less complicated. I had to protect us both, even if it meant walking away. I need to think, I said quietly, standing up. Please, just give me some time. Jason didn't argue. He nodded and stood too, walking slowly toward the door. Before leaving, he looked back one last time. I'm not trying to ruin anything. I just don't want to live pretending anymore. And just like that, he was gone, leaving me in the quiet, with a heart full of questions and a future that suddenly felt dangerously uncertain. What would you do if the person you were supposed to keep at a distance became the one you couldn't stop thinking about? Tell me in the comments. Do you think boundaries always matter when feelings are real? I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying everything in my mind, the way Jason looked at me, the things he said, and the way my own heart responded. It scared me, not just because of what had happened, but because deep down, a part of me didn't want to forget it. I sat in the dark, watching the rain slide down the windowpane, wondering when my world got so twisted. This wasn't some random crush or fleeting moment. It felt deeper, heavier, like something that had been growing slowly under the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I made coffee, set out breakfast, and kept my eyes on the kitchen counter like it was the only thing that made sense. Jason walked in, quiet, unsure, like he was waiting for me to say something first. I didn't. Neither of us brought up the night before. But every time our eyes met, the silence said more than words ever could. Later that afternoon, his mother called. My stomach twisted when I saw her name on the screen. We hadn't spoken in months, not since the divorce finalized. Her voice was casual, like she had no idea what was happening under this roof. I'm thinking of coming to town next weekend, she said. Maybe we can all get dinner? I forced a smile. Yeah, that sounds good. But the timing couldn't have been worse. Her sudden presence would only stir up more questions, more tension. Jason and I were already walking a thin line, and now the past was crashing right into it. That night, I found a note Jason had left on the nightstand. It simply read, "I'm sorry if I made things worse." But I meant everything I said. I held the note in my hand, unsure whether to cry or scream. This wasn't just a forbidden connection anymore. It was turning into something deeper, something with real consequences. What would you do if love came wrapped in guilt and silence? Would you run from it or face it head-on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Jason should stay or walk away before things get more complicated? The days that followed felt like walking on a razor's edge. Every glance, every word between Jason and me held a tension that was almost unbearable. The house, once a place of quiet comfort, now felt like a pressure cooker ready to explode. I found myself avoiding him, pretending to be busy when really I was just trying to keep my emotions in check. But he never gave up, showing up when I least expected, leaving little notes, sending texts that blurred the lines we both tried so hard to maintain. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a soft orange glow through the curtains, everything came crashing down. We were in the living room, both quiet but charged with unspoken feelings. Jason reached out, his hand trembling slightly as he took mine. The world around us seemed to freeze. For a moment, it was just us, caught between what we wanted and what we knew was impossible. Then, the phone rang. It was his mother. The timing couldn't have been worse. I hesitated before answering, knowing this call could change everything. She spoke with her usual warmth, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. She mentioned plans for the weekend, inviting us both to dinner. Her words made the room feel smaller, suffocating. After hanging up, Jason looked at me with a mix of hope and fear. Maybe this will force us to face everything, he said softly. The idea of bringing our secret into the open terrified me, but part of me was tired of hiding, tired of pretending that what we felt wasn't real. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with questions. What if we crossed the line we both feared? What would happen to our family, to the fragile peace we'd worked so hard to build? Could love really survive this kind of pressure, or was it doomed from the start? As I lay there, the silence was broken by a soft knock at the door. Jason stood there, eyes searching mine. The air between us was electric, full of longing and uncertainty. He didn't say a word. Instead, he stepped inside, closing the door behind him. And just like that, everything was about to change. What do you think will happen next? Should they face their feelings openly or try to protect themselves by keeping their distance? Share your thoughts below. Your predictions might surprise us all. Just when I thought the night couldn't get any heavier, the front door creaked open again. My heart jumped, expecting Jason to leave or maybe someone else coming home early. Instead, it was my husband, or rather, my ex-husband, standing there, unexpected and silent. The years since our divorce had been mostly peaceful, but his presence now, unannounced, sent a shock through the entire house. Jason's face tightened, his grip on my hand loosening instantly. I could feel the tension spike between the three of us, thick enough to cut through. My ex looked at me, then at Jason, eyes narrowing. He knew something was off. He could see the silent conversation burning between us. "What's going on here?" he asked, voice calm but sharp, like a question that demanded truth. Neither Jason nor I answered. The silence was loud, heavier than anything I'd felt in a long time. Suddenly, the past rushed back. Memories of arguments, heartbreak, and promises broken filled the room. My ex's unexpected return wasn't just a coincidence. It felt like the universe was forcing us to confront every secret we'd been hiding. Jason took a step forward, protective but wary, while I struggled to find words that wouldn't make everything worse. "I didn't mean to startle you," he said quietly, "but I had to see you. I've been away for months and now I'm back. We need to talk, all of us." The weight of those words crushed me. The stakes just got higher. What did he want? Was he here to repair what was broken, or to tear down the fragile walls Jason and I had built around ourselves? Jason looked at me, searching for answers. I wanted to be honest, but fear held my tongue. The house, once a place of comfort, now felt like a battlefield where the past and present were colliding dangerously. "I turned to you, watching this unfold. What would you do if your past showed up just when you were about to make the hardest choice of your life? Would you fight for the love you felt, or retreat to protect your heart?" Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think my ex's return will bring clarity or chaos? Vote in the poll. Should Jason stay and face the truth, or walk away before it all falls apart? The story is far from over, and every decision now could change everything. The air in the room was thick with tension as my ex took a slow step forward. Jason didn't back down, his jaw tight, eyes locked onto the man who used to be part of my past. For a moment, none of us spoke. Just the sound of rain hitting the windows filled the silence. Then, finally, I found my voice. "We can't keep pretending everything is okay," I said softly, looking between them. "There are feelings here that don't make sense on paper, but they're real. Jason, I care about you more than I thought possible. And you," I turned to my ex, "you need to understand that what we had is over." My ex's eyes hardened, but then something unexpected happened. His expression softened, and he nodded slowly. "I'm not here to fight. I came back because I was scared of losing you. Yes, but also scared of what you might be feeling now. I didn't want to ruin your life, but I needed to know the truth." Jason's body relaxed slightly, but the tension wasn't gone. "This isn't just about the past or the present," he said quietly. "It's about what comes next. We can't keep living in the shadows of what we're not supposed to feel." The three of us sat down, the storm outside echoing the turmoil in our hearts. For hours, we talked about love, loss, and the complicated ties that bind people together. We didn't solve everything that night, but something shifted. Boundaries were clearer, but the connection between Jason and me remained undeniable. Just when I thought the worst was behind us, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. "You don't know the whole story yet. Watch your back." My heart stopped. The calm was just the surface. Beneath it lay secrets waiting to unravel everything again. Jason noticed my change in expression. "What is it?" he asked, concern flashing in his eyes. I hesitated but showed him the message. Someone knows more than they're saying. The room fell silent once more, the sense of safety we'd found slipping away. What do you think this message means? Who could be watching? Let me know your guesses in the comments and stay tuned, because this story is far from over. She put down the phone, the glow fading but the weight of the message lingering in the room. Jason reached out, gently taking my hand again, this time with a quiet promise that no matter what secrets were out there, we would face them together. My ex nodded, a mix of acceptance and understanding on his face, signaling the end of an old chapter and the start of something new, though uncertain. In the days that followed, the mysterious message led us to unexpected revelations, truths about people close to us, hidden motives, and past decisions that shaped the present. But through it all, Jason and I grew stronger, learning that love doesn't always follow rules or timelines. Sometimes it's messy, complicated, and full of risk, but it's real. We made a choice to be honest with ourselves and each other, and that honesty became the foundation we needed. My ex found his own path, stepping back with respect and giving us the space to explore what we had without the ghosts of the past pulling us down. It wasn't perfect, but it was genuine, and that mattered most. Looking back, the journey wasn't about just avoiding pain or running from difficult feelings. It was about embracing the complexities of love and family, about learning that sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most meaningful connections. Now, I want to hear from you. What did you think about how everything ended? Would you want a sequel to find out what happens next? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched you or made you think, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you for staying with me until the end.